It's not going like that.
It is live. Look
now. Well,
it
is live now. It's just now.
Well, it wasn't behind the world.
What are these purple
you
crowns
didn't get the
by
memo.
our names? What purple crowns by their names? Who's got purple crowns by their names? The people that we have anointed with purple crowned ones. I don't know what that is about. Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. Just the three of us here right now. What I am finding jolly interesting is in the UK that model flyers are beginning to notice that remote ID is coming their way. They're beginning to chitter-chatter about it. And it's terrible, really, isn't it? That people... no, I won't do that because he goes over there. There we are. He's doing that whole 1/3 thing. So if I do that, he disappears off. Oh, there, look, he's going to move his chair now.
I moved to special.
But, yeah, it's just like in America where people went, oh, no, it's fine, it's all good until it arrived. It bewilders me a little. We've been playing this game for more than 10 years now, and people still don't seem to have read the memo, and they're just beginning to understand that. Go on, mate.
Just a good thing, because you did an SUAS news story on it. There's been another successful raid for a drone hitting a helicopter, which I thought was
in America in this
successful raid.
Yeah, hello there, Thumpervolt and everybody else. Yeah, but that's quite well. Yeah, another successful raid. I.e., they weren't listening out for it and then didn't detect that airframe that hit the Black Hawk or the drone that hit the Black Hawk.
It's not electronic DJI.
No, I know it's not. I know. But as an emergency services, if you'd think you'd set up, and there's plenty of off-the-shelf and even open source RID base. I was looking at one today that uses you can use multiple receivers or smartphone apps. Yeah, there's plenty of. It's not impossible to set up yourself a surveillance system for such things. Not necessarily for the helicopter, but guys on the ground that can look and go, whoa,
where was D-Drone when all this was happening?
Well, yeah, and it's a terrible, terrible tragedy when we certainly can't make light of it. And if you're flying your drone to take pictures of rescue helicopters, then you need your bumps read from inside a cell. It's just the idiocracy of it is extraordinary, isn't it? And that is kind of where you would want a RID system, and you would want to detect that person, and you would want to detain them. I think we can all agree on that, can't we?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, we're not against safety. That's for certain. And it's I'm looking. I took myself off to one side because some of you might have seen a live stream that Ian joined me on the other day, where we watched live from Bristol, live in fact from here. The Schliebel belonging to the UK police force getting airborne. And that's not a Schliebel. That's actually a police helicopter going about its lawful duties. So I'm wondering if they're due to fly tonight there again. But I'm wondering if they'll be grounded for a little while whilst that's in the air. What did I do with the altitude? There we are. There we are. Share this tab instead. So yeah, look, Porter's Head is where that police helicopter was there, and that is within their temporary danger area that they've got sorted out for tonight. So maybe there'll be a hold on any flying. Am I sharing this tab, the right tab? I don't know. Let's go back to sharing this one. Maybe there'll be a hold on flying there. We shall see. How Bruce's Raspberry Pi alarm, yes. Okay, Johnny. Right, yeah. You must live in a very, very small town or something. There's a lot goes on. What's that? Oh, the Raspberry Pi thing.
Yeah, it's running in the background.
And is it working well for you?
Yes, but interesting to note that helicopter received damage, but again, nobody was killed. So again,
sure.
the magnitude of the risk is still lower than is being proposed. Every time a drone collides with an airplane or a helicopter and nobody dies, it gives us a better idea of the likelihood of people being injured or killed in such situations, and that likelihood drops with every incident. We shouldn't have incidents, but it does. So regulators and everyone should be learning from this, and also showing that regulations don't stop idiots from doing stupid things. I'm proof of
that. Let's have a look. I've just been sent a private post by my colleague here. We're looking for what we're actually doing. Let me show you, dear viewers. We're looking for webcams that we might see yon drone. But look, lovely sunset in the UK. How very pretty. Portishead one. Maybe that'll see it. Can we move around that one? No, we can't. Portishead, yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's where the this is where the Schlebor's operating from. It's just there, and it's not very windy, is it? 6 knots from the northwest, but it's not airborne yet. So what else have we seen? There's really, honestly, there's not a lot else has happened this week, unless anyone's
still no DJI stock.
That is, people seem to be being bamboozled by that, don't they?
And also no Kia Refresh now because they can't get replacement units into the country.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, isn't it? I feel sorry for everyone that's been stuck in that process, and now that seems very, very balked. And I'm hearing that there's also tourists coming in and getting 100% duty on the gear that they're bringing in and things like that when they go through customs. So yeah, it's not good. What's tonight's Ian Hour based upon? Oh well, the Ian Hour part. There's things that can't be said. No. There's things that can't be said. Some people are very, very angry with Ian.
Should we redact him?
Which is, well, he's been redacted lots and lots and lots, and that's caused quite a bit of checking of paperwork, which I think I'm at liberty to say, and it's been put in the hands of the legal department. I think I can say. But we won't go into any more details, really. But
do you know if there's a certain person that you know that's helping out ever wants it to go public that he's got involved?
Doubt it.
That's helping.
Doubt it.
It's helping facilitate the person that has cuboid-like devices.
Oh, that person. Oh,
yeah.
Well, no, I don't think so. Yeah. There's been some assistance. I won't say without checking. There's been a bit of assistance, but again, it's you look at other scandals in all parts of UK life and stuff where big agencies obscure stuff, and unfortunately, it's not uncommon. And you wonder how on earth they're getting away with it, but they are. It's the default setting. The narrative. Bruce always says the narrative, isn't it? And that's what they do. And whatever the thing is, if it's something to do with cars, nothing to do with drones at all. Whatever it is, there's always a narrative. I can't remember the one I sent you recently, but there was another one where I think it was an accident in Scotland, I think, but they pushed and pushed and pushed it back, and Simon says post office scandal for one, absolutely, and that's extraordinary. So that Gatwick and telling Porky Pies about F-15s and drones is neither here nor there compared to that one, really. It really isn't. What did I have? I had that one ready, but you've already spoken about it. Well, Airpox Reality Check, of course, sent a letter to the board. Did we talk about that last week? I can't remember.
I don't.
Was that? All right, let's get that up here. So good for them, and of course, the other people to shout out for. Grey Arrows. We must give a shout out to Grey Arrows for trying to keep people honest as well. And if only more organisations, ARPAS, actually really properly did their job, then we'd be doing better, I think. But yeah, so well done. I'll put that in the comments. Well done to Airprox Reality Check for doing that. So I'm running on not very dynamic, am I?
It is worth noting on that I did do. It was one of my first, if not my very. No, I think it's my very first SUAS News email, pressy kind of question that I sent to the CAA, and I did ask them a few questions about the Airprox incident. So one of them was basically asking, can we expect the Airprox process in future will be as thorough? I got a very Teflon response to that, which I interpret as being no. It's one of those where it's very, very wordy in that, but it isn't saying yes, we will. They're saying, well, we don't normally have as much data to go on, but you kind of do in public sources. There's kind of a bit of a stubborn refusal to use ADSB data and stuff. So I think they'll go and ask NATS, and if NATS don't give them any data, then that's it. Case closed. So I think that's kind of unfortunate. I guess the only thing is, though, is if anything happens significant with the drone, with an Airprox, again, if people just jump on freedom of information, try and get a journalist questioning it, and then hopefully that alone will cause the thoroughness to occur. I did ask, actually, I said, from what we looked at the show last week and discussed, I said there is evidence on public sources that US Air Force F-15s are taking off at night without all the lighting on, as they claimed in the Airprox. Said, who could I flag that to? And the answer was, flag it to the United States Air Force. And I'm thinking, yeah, because I'm sure they need telling. I mean, it's not like their air traffic controllers can't see these things taking off and aren't fully aware of what's going on around them.
Yeah, can't without the lights on. You're right.
If their air traffic controller unaware of the jets taking off without every single light being turned on as they claim they had, then I don't think they can be trusted to be saying there's drones in the sky if they can't even get that right. So I just thought the answer was a bit rubbish, because it's not just the case of, because obviously the issue isn't that the United States Air Force are doing that. It's the fact that if they're not as visible as they could be to other civilian traffic, they themselves are put a risk in the airspace to civilian traffic. So you think the CAA might want to do something like say, oh, they'll send us the evidence and we'll nudge them to make sure they stick up a note time to say that that's the case. That'd be something, wouldn't it? But it seems that nobody wants to know. So there we are. Yeah,
it's all a conundrum wrapped in a mystery, or whatever it is they're saying. It's like, beyond those, you need the blinker fluid topping up. Teflon response. Yeah, and and another interesting one that's popped up on the link of the inn this week is the people are noticing. It was actually Richard Ryan pointed out the speed at which temporary danger areas and drone restriction areas are popped up by NATS seemingly without the correct response or querying times. Not enough time for you to object to them and things like that. No, boom, they're on the map. And that's another interesting thing, isn't it? Is how their NATS are seemingly just popping these out there, and you can't protest. You might protest saying, I don't want drones over my local area, etc., etc., etc. So there's no doubt there's scrutiny from the industry, because of great areas, chunks of busy parts of the UK and populated areas get restricted out of use for a couple of days, and that's going to affect your business if it's an area of a city. So that does need to be looked at, the whole process. So yeah, I think that story is, again, Grey Arrows were in on that one. I think that story is going to be another interesting one to follow, because I think people are beginning to get angry about it. I think you saw that as well, didn't you, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I've commented on Twitter a few times, is that because you don't get this universally. Some police forces are deciding to just pop up. Why, when there's a concert, does it really justify taking out miles of airspace? It doesn't. I mean, Grey Arrows, I think they have a point when they say that this isn't managing safety. It's lazy management. You're just taking out all the airspace. I'm thinking, well, I don't really want to think, because really, if you're blocking off airspace, really, you should have a bit of responsibility there to manage it. To say, well, you can be there, you can't, that kind of thing. But they don't want to do that. What they want to do is block it out and just have nobody fly. You're destroying people's livelihoods, because a lot of these things take place in the summer months, when the months where you actually want to fly and will have jobs and there will be weddings and so on. And then you're just taking out huge swathes of airspace. And we don't see this in the US. And that's the whole point in the US, really, because the FAA is managing it all. And if you want to close down airspace, you've got to have a bloody good reason. And over here, we've got this pretend thing where he goes, Secretary of State said, no, stop that nonsense. You are deciding, you're submitting the form. And I think it'll just be getting some sort of, essentially automatic tick off and coming back. And you're taking out the airspace in a way you would never dream of doing with roads. There's just this contempt to drones as a mode of transport. I mean, imagine if you had a delivery company. There's no way in hell they are stopping their entire deliveries over a city because you're putting up an airspace restriction. So what we're going to do then? Well, we would have a 2-tier thing where it says delivery drones are allowed, but no other types of drone. It's to me, it's something where this shouldn't be going on. The CAA should be a gatekeeper for this, and you should have a damn good reason for closing down airspace.
But Remote ID will fix this, Ian. Remote ID will identify bad actors immediately, and they will be able to have all the drones, and then they have the little things like the FAA video, just like that, just like in New Jersey and New York. Oh, maybe that's not a good example.
Yeah, Remote ID will definitely fix everything. I found this webcam's quite interesting. It's about that police helicopter that's operating is behind this. This is Battery Point. Let me change tabs to this one. Oh, in fact, the helicopter is just good. So it's here. That's where this webcam is. It's here somewhere. So we can't quite see that chap. Just keep a weather eye on that while we're
Pretend
there.
you're a Chinese warship and shine a laser at it.
Yeah, Red Arrow season shows up a lot on airspace maps. Yeah. Well, the Red Arrows have been doing. I think they've been doing lots of fly-throughs at places this year. Places like Glastonbury and things like that. They've been doing a lot of joined up fly-throughs of different events and things. I think they're struggling to find a reason to be these days, aren't they? Which is sad. It's very sad. Some pages do you think Ridge solves it all? Well, that's where we're going, and that's what people are missing. We're going to network remote ID, and people say, but what if there's no signal? Well, then you won't be able to fly. Because do you remember that was exactly what the Americans?
You will. This is what the. To the credit, this is one little thing that's kind of good, but I'm still not happy with it overall, because I don't think the data is going to be held anywhere near as privately as it should be. But the whole point of why they call it hybrid is it will try and use the network. If it can't use the network, it will use local, just for the idea being if there's some law enforcement, they can detect it. But it will store the information about what you were doing, and then when you're next connected to where there is remote, it will upload it. So it is storing it there temporarily on your device. Apparently, that's what they wanted to do.
How are model aircraft going to be compliant with this?
What's that, sorry?
How are model aircraft going to be, and FPV drones going to be compliant with all this?
Although they'll have to put a device on they'll make their drone even higher, pushing them up into some other category and making their life a nightmare.
It's crazy.
It's my guess. I mean, the
Yeah,
daft thing is the 100 grams and then doing it, because people said, well, if you've got a 100-gram drone, you put your rig module on it, it's now 250 grams plus 200, it's over 250 grams. And then you're just into a different world of categorization already. It's those kind of stupidity things. I mean, I don't really want to go on it anymore, because we do, we've been through this so many times, and we all know the.
We have. That's the trouble, isn't it?
We all know what the issues are, and the stupidity, and the taxpayers' money. This is one of those things. Actually, this is when people talk in the US about the Doge thing. This is a perfect example, because we are delivering a system purely because we've rushed into legislation. The DFT don't want to lose face, repealing that legislation, taking a step back and delivering the correct, system when the funding's there and when they've scoped it out properly. Instead, we're going to put up a minimum viable product with lots of issues, and then we're going to build on top of it. I mean, like building a house on dodgy foundation, because you've started it rubbish. There will be cracks everywhere still, no matter what you do afterwards, unless you just scrap it all, wasting all that money and start afresh. It's one of the things that just frustrates me, because, if you're in the private sector, you would not be doing that. It is just another example of the way the public sector is. It's just public money, blah, 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 boom. And then the way as well that, it is concerned me again today. If people have been watching the news, and this is the fourth time, the exact same story. So the prison story has been pushed out again, which was Manchester, and it's another one I forget. But we've unpacked this on the show before. We've done freedom of informations that have been answered months ago, and like Manchester, the claim was, there's all these 7+ kilogram drones that are coming in, dropping off contraband. So if freedom of information, they go, fine then. How many drones are there? And the police said, we've heard of one. It's not even we've seen it. We've heard there was a 7 kilogram drone. So when you actually go away and say, give us the evidence, there isn't any evidence. In fact, the report just says the prison has broken CCTV. The staff are poorly trained, etc., etc., etc. There is no proof of where the contraband's coming from. It's just this prison is broken. With someone allegedly seen some drones, but then again, if you're a corrupt prison officer, what are you going to say? You're going to say, "Oh, it's a drone, mister, that brought it in." You're not going to say, "I brought it in with my kit bag." So it's like, is any evidence really being collected? But it just concerned me that this story has come out again. It's like, why do we keep repeating the same stories? And I'm thinking again, it feels like with RID and that, whenever they're trying to push something, there's always, let's get these negative stories, let's get them pushed out. And it just felt like. Is it more of the narrative being pushed, or was it just, again, I think it was because there was the annual report put out, so it could just be coincidence. But again, it's like the BBC reported something they've already reported, and they've already done in between that. Scotland, as we've discussed as well, has just thought, we're a prison. Why don't we just put decent bars on the window? Which, you think a prison. So that's exactly what they did. And they stopped all the drones. It went 6 months without any drones. That's still ongoing. So they have proven that you don't have to have this issue. So it's like, why in Scotland can we say, we can solve this? And in England, you just go over the border and they're going, we can't do anything about this. Drones. We can't do it. And it's like, I don't buy it. I'm sorry. It's like, it's just pure incompetence, and it's like, what's the scapegoat we could do that doesn't blame us in the public sector doing this? It just blames everyone else, and it's drones, and it's like, it's frustrating with that, because I wouldn't mind if they said drones are the main problem. They're bringing in the contraband. Here's the proof. Here's all the drones. Here's all the videos. Blah, blah, blah. Counting it all up. You go, fair enough then. You've got the proof. And then it's how do you solve it? But we don't even get the proof. We just get... and in fact, most of the drones seem to be being found by people nearby, spotting vans, dodgy blokes around vans, and then calling the police turning up and then opening it up and going, oh, you've got a drone in the back, mister. What you doing with that? And yeah, that's where we are in the world right now.
No, and so endeth the sermon.
Can't they fix it all just by hiring some expensive consultants to advise them? Isn't that how the public service generally works?
Well, that's what's going on here, isn't it? You get the consultants in that make a ton of money, giving you advice, which is just it's just what their expertise is. So it's their bias applied of how the solution that's going to essentially pay them for their services. They're not coming in to say these are all the pros and cons, or to say, look, actually, you might as well just part this, repeal the legislation, work on it properly, get us back. It's none of that. It'll say this will be interesting for people to have a look at. I'm just following this guy on what do you know? On what do they know? If you create yourself an account on there, you could search for freedom of information. So then if you see someone doing an interesting question, you can actually follow them as a person and see everything they do. So this is one poor bloke here. So I reckon he'll probably be from the hobby community. He might even be like a BMFA member or something like that, model aircraft even, because he's obviously tweaked on to the fact that there's remote ID, and he's trying to get some questions answered about data privacy. But the interesting thing in this, I've only had a chance to glance at, basically, I think he's asked 3 questions. They've answered one of them by just linking him to the European legislation instead of really giving him the answer. It's just like, here you go, here's a bucket full of text, just read through that and figure it out yourself. And then the other 2, they said we can't answer. But I think the concerning thing is the one they said they can't answer is about, well, what have you done for GDPR to make sure this is all compliant? What due diligence have you done? And I think really the impression I'm getting is none's been done so far.
Wow, is that well, that would be extraordinary, because that would be the first place to go in the UK now, wouldn't it?
Well, you'd imagine so, but I don't know. It feels like this is going to be pushed forward, and the really people haven't thought about all the ins and outs of it, and they'll do that as the day comes, or try and get through it, hopefully without it being noticed, and see how much noise is made. I really don't know, but I think with this one, I'll have to go in with the freedom of information request, just being really specific about this, because this is the clear thing we need to know. Are they going to be transmitting the position of the pilot on the local? I think, is it direct? What they call it?
Direct, yeah. Well, they're just going to be. It's going to be buying in the American system, which has been enabled by DJI.
The thing is, even if you have the American system, you could drop off metadata. So you could say, well, we're doing that, but without putting your location on there. You could just put the drones. I think if they did that, I couldn't see good grounds for arguing it, other than it's still a bit of an unnecessary waste of money. But, from a privacy, and would it concern me if I was flying a drone, the answer would be, well, if it's just the location of my drone, no, because you potentially be able to see that and hear it in the air anyway. So we'll see what comes to that. I've just noticed you popped up Simon.
He's asked for a copy of the. Well. Yeah.
Yeah, with Simon with that, then you're probably better off using the freedom of information thing, or even better. What's it called? EIR. I'm trying to think what that stands for. It's environmental information regulation. So it's basically like the Freedom of Information Act, but it has less exemptions that can be thrown at you. So that's actually a better one to use for some of these questions. So people should keep that in mind. I'm probably going to switch to doing more of those in future. You still have to, questions in the same way. There'll still be some of the same arguments and so on, but there are a few silly exemptions with freedom of information that get widely abused. So I just figured it'd be a way of doing it without quite so much abuse. Yeah, I have to say, in fairness to the CAA, they're usually quite quick to reply. I think they generally try and answer stuff, but we do have problems where the stuff which is where the CAA, for whatever reason, fits a contentious issue, and they make things unnecessarily difficult. So they're a little bit strange that way, but I'm hoping with RID, I still think that'll be contentious, but hopefully if you do pretty straightforward questions, you can get some, hopefully, pretty straightforward answers. And if not, then obviously you'll have to go through the escalation processes of internal review and onto the ICO. But with something being 6 months away, there isn't really much of an excuse of not knowing what your plans are, because there's not a lot of time when you're delivering systems. In fact, it'll be less than 6 months now, won't it?
Yeah, it is. Yep. The clock is definitely running down. Where are you at with RID in New Zealand, Bruce? I can't remember.
It's not even on the radar here because we're still a decade behind in our regulations, still trying to get to grips with the extreme dangers of flying 20-gram whoops inside houses.
Yes. Well, no, fair enough. You've got to contain that problem. That's for sure.
Have you thought of inviting the Civil Aviation Authority of New Zealand to appear on the stream so we can put some crucial questions to them?
You drop me a message with who you think we should invite, and I'll invite them, and we'll see what happens. It'll be going to drop in World War III soon. Well, Tribadan,
only in Dad's army capacity. Look at Gary. It's just really cold there.
Yeah. Oh, is he? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you're back now.
But, did I freeze? Sorry.
Yeah, you froze. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, what was I trying to say? I was trying to say Tribadan. Yeah, we might well be in that. It won't last very long, World War III. So I'm not sure they'll have time to recruit us. There's been such a rush at the promise of money, especially in America. The whole world's going to build.
Can we get enough remote? If a war broke out, how would we get enough remote ID systems to put on these drones we'd use in combat? You couldn't make them quick enough.
It's true. No, you couldn't. That's very true.
And you wouldn't want to break the rules.
It's interesting on this point. There is some news at the minute. His claims on that big, beautiful bill of that Trump has done, that while we in the UK, there's had a good record with counter UAS systems. While we've done those, and we're going, oh, well, we don't need those anymore. We've got RID. We've got the system that America had. So while we're doing that, America is putting £2 billion in a proper counter drone systems, realizing that RID's done bugger all when it's actually needed. So it's kind of funny that we're off that direction and US is going back the way we've come from.
But I think whilst big numbers are being bandied around, I don't think it'll take the counter drone companies long to spend $2 billion and provide nothing. It won't take long at all. I mean, that will cover the biscuits and coffee, but what about the rest?
I think they'll probably repurpose some of those NATO bomb detectors that were so good.
Yeah, that's precisely what's going to happen. It's going to there's going to be massive oversell of systems and things, and it's going to be amazing. We can all make our own now, and get them in front of the right people and make a lot of money. It's a big. We know how much money's been wasted on all this sort of thing. So big numbers to be spent on it, that to me doesn't look as impressive as seeing systems that actually work. And are useful and joined up thinking with it all as well. So I've seen some really good standard RID detection things now with mesh enabled. As Bruce says, you actually just need a smartphone, and you could just mesh those. I don't think there's anyone doing that yet. Has anyone seen?
Actually, I'm pretty sure I saw one of the apps that uses cellular connectivity to report back to a central server for the purposes of logging data from all over the place.
Just on a slightly slight tangent. I noticed the Altitude Angel actually got Drone Girl, so it must be a sponsored advertorial about the Arrow Towers. So they're actually building on the fact they got the patent there by getting influencers to sort of get Altitude Angel's name out there, in the hope, I would suspect, that someone at the FAA realizes they're a player that should also be considered.
And Johnny D saying that's a very, very accurate point there, Johnny. We know how much money in drone parts are spread across, and all that DJI stuff you can't get in America anymore. That's where an awful lot of it is.
Trump is not stupid, is he? He's done that rare earth mining thing with Ukraine because he knows there are so many neodymium magnets embedded in the bloody farmlands now, and it's not naturally occurring. It's just the fallout from the drones blowing up.
And it'd be the cheapest amount of mining you can do, won't it? You just walk along and pick them up. Yeah, it's quite extraordinary, isn't it? The stuff that's there, and so we're saying, equip our armies, sell them 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 at a time, whatever. You also need to skill up the soldiers, because in the battlefield there'll be loads of parts they could use again. If they knew how to do it, motors and stuff. But I think do you see the Ukrainians are putting spyware on the flight controllers, so when the Russians plug them in, they're getting viruses on their computers, which is a bloody obvious thing to do, isn't it? But yeah, you need to skill the people up.
It's just like the booby trap ammo of World War II, eh?
Yeah, it's terrible. The fiber optic cables dragging on our feet. Yeah, it's quite amazing, isn't it?
It's like a giant spider web over there in some areas. There's so much fiber optic cable. When you have that sort of thing where you see it with the mist on it and all the spider webs at certain times of the year. It's just like that, which makes you wonder, because most of the footage I'm seeing is still RF based, of drone strikes with things. So I wonder how much of that fiber optic they're actually using, because you'd think it would be pretty easy to neutralize with ECM. And yet there still seems to be a lot of it.
Well, you would, wouldn't you? But I suppose it's a matter of having that ECM in the area where it's needed, within the 5 or 10 Ks of wherever they're operating.
I see a lot of vehicles with ECM mounted. You can see the ECM antennas mounted on high value vehicles. So, and it doesn't cost much to make that stuff these days. AliExpress sells it. So I would wonder why they wouldn't have it more widely used. Well,
I wouldn't want to be in a vehicle that switched it on these days. It wouldn't take many seconds before
guided missiles.
Before somebody arrived to greet you. You definitely want it all. You park the van on top of the hill and run away, wouldn't you?
But it's good the way they've changed the strategy with those Shahed drones. They used to fly low and were easy to shoot down. Now they fly very high and they just dive vertically on the target, much harder to hit. I mean, it took them a while to work that out, though, didn't it?
And they're being produced completely locally, aren't they? And in Russia now,
from Russia with love,
and apparently with some quite clever NVIDIA AI on, allegedly.
Just like the Jetsons.
Yeah, you got to take these, just like the Jetsons. Yes, that's right. You got to take these claims of AI flight and targeting with a little bit of pinch of salt. And have you seen the dreadful videos of the storks being taken out by? No. Yeah, so there's storks flying along in pairs or in V's, and both sides are crewing, getting birds in flight because and those are the very storks that come here. They migrate down to here. So I guess it's midsummer over there now, isn't it?
But a big decline in population with nothing to deliver the babies.
Precisely, but that's what people are going to say: is are we going to see a decline in the number of storks this year because of the numbers taken out on the battlefield, which would be an interesting thing in springtime. Another back end of September, they'll arrive here. But yeah, that's pretty terrible. And as Cliff says, and still no pizza delivery. I did see an almost pizza delivery video of a rover in Ukraine that had and it was. Did you see the one delivering the mines?
Oh no, I didn't see that one.
Where they just they pushed it back. It's so obvious. They pushed it back against the big bit of like bicycle inner tube, which bent back, and they just a servo with a pin. And then when they pulled it, boing, it just boing, out it went. And it is, and it was using two those balance board things, and they put a frame between them. But that's all it was. It was two balance boards, a little bit of a standard FPV gear, so it was RC controlled, no autonomy at all, and a big rubber band, and hoid the mine out. Simples. Now we've got the first case from Ali, and she escaped from it. Oh, there you go. Tribe of Damn. Let's have a little look at Bristol again, but I think we are talking nonsense already.
I've got a few things in the private chat.
Oh, have you? Oh, let me go across to the private chat and see. Oh, yeah.
Can you send me some more of those pictures, Ian? They're really good. I can put them on my OnlyFans page. Private chat.
Right. Let me. Well, that's a load of tosh, isn't it? Because all they've done is hover the thing. It's absolute.
I try not to be sarcastic and that on post, but I had to deal with this one because, again, we've said this in the past. If you're bragging about flying in Dubai, you don't want to be, because that's we know they'll let anything fly there, you know. So it's like this isn't a milestone or anything to be proud of. It's a small thing. If you're going to do it, just do it quietly. We don't want to hear. You know, it's embarrassing. It's like, calm yourselves down.
Yeah, but look at all the things that have flown in Dubai and gone on to do wonderful things. There was that police flying motorbike thing. There was the Martin jetpack. All those things have gone on to great success after flying in Dubai.
Oh, and then I see the other. Oh, fantastic success! And this one I noticed.
Now, this one I like, because this one's kind of subtle for me as well. Because we've now moved from drones won't steal your fries into really this is essentially saying drones won't rape you, and I do kind of like that message, because this is one that would actually people would think genuinely, they would think this is actually a really good point, and I give me that drone now, because we do have a problem actually with the apps on the food delivery at the moment. There are accounts being sold. So I've had this myself, where it said there was a female motorcyclist coming to deliver the fast food order, and went out, and it was actually it was 4 blokes in a car. And I thought, if a woman was dealing with that would actually be pretty scary. And this is obviously it's at night as well, so it's this will definitely ring true with a lot of people. But I just thought, this is one thing, if someone had said to me benefit of a drone, it wouldn't have even popped into my head. But when I saw it, I thought suddenly, when it's a clever, whoever's doing the social media, actually, they should have been doing this a while ago, but actually getting the public's feedback and what they see as the benefit is a really good tool for your own marketing, but also making you think, wait a minute, this is what people are really thinking when they're ordering from a drone, and what the real benefits are in their eyes.
So I don't know, here in New Zealand, most of the solo mothers don't have enough money to buy takeaway food.
Wow.
Bit of benefits in the UK? What's the story?
What's Ireland?
I'm not going down that route. I think,
don't. It's a trap. It's a trap.
I thought they're all Deliveroo riders from where there were illegal immigrants come across the channel doing all the food deliveries on their bicycles.
Oh, and my God, they pedaled hard to get across the channel. It's can you explain again how the person delivering the food was identified on the app as being female?
Well, what's actually going on is people are registering accounts, and from the look of this, the registration process isn't that high either. I think people are grabbing photos and names that don't even exist, but what they're doing is they're selling these, and not just selling it to one person. They're selling it to a group of people. So they might even be doing it as essentially renting it out. So you can actually rent access to that account for certain hours of the day. So And you actually can see with a lot of these accounts, they've got real poor ratings. So a lot of people notice this is going on with the delivery, and it's probably because there's so many people doing it. Some of these people probably don't even care, and they're turning up late, or they're having a nibble at the food. So they
need to watch more auditors.
Yeah.
Watch the auditors have been out there.
These have got like 40% ratings, and yet so the companies themselves must know there's a problem because they've had that many bad ratings about these accounts, but they're doing nothing about it because for them they don't care. They're just making the money. And that is a problem. So the actual government's highlighted this as a problem. And you can see it now in our city centres. I wasn't aware of it until I went into city centre recently. And they've actually gone to the trouble of pedestrianising the whole city centre at great expense, saying, oh, cars, bad, evil, as councils do. But it's not like it's actually got more dangerous because it's just full of delivery. The e-bikes, and what they're doing is they must be using software hacks or something, but basically what you can do is they've got a legal limit of 15 miles an hour, and some are clocking them up to 60, and so there's like a motorcycle down the pavement, so there's people being like hit by the bleeding things. So it's a challenge now for the police. So I know West Midlands Police did an action on this just yesterday of actually going in there, attacking the riders, and they even were so there was like police officers clattered over by them, and that as they tried to arrest them because the bikes cost them, I think, a few grand. So when they take them off them, they don't get them back because they were going there checking them, and they'd all been like set so they could do like 30 miles an hour or more. So
you've also got to be, you have to pedal. You can't just use the throttle. It has to only work when you pedal. There's a whole lot of restrictions.
Yes.
Also, e-scooters themselves are illegal. But I watch these auditor videos where they go into town and there's all these people, delivery drivers, all parked on corners waiting for orders, and they've got all these bikes. They've got twin motorized hubs, one on the front, one on the back, and and the police have done things where they've checked them all and they confiscate the bikes. So some of them are worth like £1,000, and they just confiscate the bikes, but it doesn't stop them. And where do they get the money from?
Yeah, well, you can buy the stickers, can't you? To make your whatever's legal in your country. Yeah, so 250, 500, 750. Yeah. So you might be 1,000-watt bike, but you put the stickers on and
that slows them down.
But it slows them right down. Yeah, exactly. You put the sticker on.
To the question of where do they get the money from? It wouldn't surprise me if some of these people are doing accounts where they sort you out the hours on the fake account. They sort you out the bike, and they take most of the money and give you just a fraction of it. It could be something along those lines. There's definitely an organization to it, because there's actually, I think, like hidden Facebook groups where you go on there and you can see all the
dark web.
I watched
the audit. DJE Media, he'd put a video up yesterday, I think it was, and he went to one of those migrant hotels where they're putting up the boat people, and he went around the back, and there's all these bikes with Deliveroo boxes on the back of them in the bike park, and they're all these guys are doing this, even though I don't think they're supposed to work, but good on them for working, not being a burden on the UK taxpayer.
Absolutely. Simon's saying DJI bike power module, they do. Yeah. I don't know with the DJI restrictions exactly how many of their microphones and cameras and things are being restricted.
Well, you can't cycle near airports for a start.
Well, no, absolutely. But Remote ID will sort that out. But yeah, I mean, are the microphones and cameras also being stopped in America, or is it just the drones?
I haven't heard. I think DJI has just basically stopped shipping everything at this stage. So whether or not they're stopped or not, we don't know, because they're probably not even getting to the border.
It's going to affect Christmas soon, isn't it?
Anything with RF will be an issue, because basically the ban later in the year they want to enact is based on providing FCC certification. They'll no longer certify new DJI products, which means the existing ones should still be able to be sold, but new ones won't get certification. So and that's everything, because DJI has Wi-Fi on everything, whatever on everything.
There is an upside to this, though, and I've probably mentioned this before, and it's one that does bring me a bit of joy, that it'll stop all those shills in America that always have Facebook things like that, where they have the product and they go like that every thumbnail, and I hate that. It's always, I'm so amazed by this product, I've had to do my amazing.
It's the best I've ever had, or whatever that line is.
And it's
The
always
Best I've reviewed today.
Yes, and it's got to have the word cinematic.
Oh yeah, and it changes
and
everything.
It changes everything. Yeah, this changes everything. You'll be surprised. I was shocked.
This is my Hero 4 from
Anamorphic.
So, well before. I mean,
do you get the nice?
Last year
is the bokeh nice and oval? Do you get nice oval bokeh in the background with that lens?
You don't with wide angles like this.
No,
you do get a very, very stretched image and lots of stretched light flares.
Cool. You can add those in post, you know.
They're not as nice. They're nowhere near as nice.
Oh yeah, if you're doing properly, they are. They're going to be even better.
Oh no, yeah.
Game changer. That's it. Cliff's got it. Everything DJI is not selling. It's a game changer. That lens is a game changer.
Some future day, I am literally going to put this on for my camera. So I'm going to put a proper camera on here, and we're going to have me in anamorphic.
Well, it makes you look thinner.
Yeah, you've lost a bit of weight there.
Yeah, that's it. It squeezes me in, so it's a bonus all round.
Yeah, it's going to be Christmas is coming, and it's going to be very interesting to see. Normally, we'd be having a DJI release for Christmas, and plainly that's not going to happen for America.
Yeah, but now on AliExpress you can buy just exactly the same as the DJI drones with 20 kilometers of range and an 8K camera with the gimbal and the return to home and all that sort of stuff. $29. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. Yeah, but that's what happens when you're an engineer. It becomes disaffected with the major company that you are working for, and the patents have just ended. So
it comes with a free 7-second health hack involving cider vinegar and salt. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got lots of sort of. A friend of ours makes cider vinegar, but anyway, that's another story altogether.
Well, yeah, it will disrupt the industry. Yeah,
it will. They'll disrupt the industry. Yeah, and they've made liters and liters of cider that everyone's afraid of drinking.
With AI, anything is possible.
Well, yes, I don't think AI, artificial insemination. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
I don't.
Interesting. You know how AI is changing all the software. Like companies that write software are getting rid of programmers and getting vibe coders and everyone in instead because it's 40% more productive. What they don't realize is that in the USA, at least, none of their AI produced software is protected by copyright.
Yeah.
I don't think those claims are true anyway. I think what a lot of companies are doing where they're getting rid of staff, they're using that as an excuse. I think it's a lot more your call center type people and that where it's been placed. I don't think anyone's really getting rid of coders. I actually use Copilot myself, coding, and it doesn't do, it doesn't do it all for you. You can't just leave it and it code it. It's as much as anything guessing a lot of it. So you've still got to have the knowledge for what you're trying to deliver, and you've got to shape it so it can speed you along. It can even do code, but probably in a more concise way sometimes than how you'd write it. But we're still with the same outcome. So I see it as it is at this point in time. It's a productivity benefit. It makes you a bit faster, and that's true of creatives as well. As you got people in Photoshop or that way, you might add something. Although I'm actually quite disappointed because with Adobe, if anyone that's got it knows how expensive that is a month and how much money they're getting, and their AI is really quite poor for getting images. It's so hit and miss, and that's I wonder how many people are really commercially getting benefit out of the AI, because every time you do the AI, it's that random and can be that off. You can spend, you could arguably spend half an hour getting the right look, in which time, if you're skilled enough, you could have just done that yourself. So the main benefit has
career of the future is prompt engineering. That's what people should be learning today. Prompt engineering. If you know what you're doing, you can get it done really quickly, and it is quite good. Look on YouTube, half the thumbnails are now AI generated.
The trouble is though, with a lot of the AI generated stuff, especially Gary's, you can tell it's AI. For example, a good example was last week's was when you were trying to do the Empire's helicopter and the F-15. It got the F-15 fairly right, but that helicopter was a mashup of a few things, and it definitely wasn't British. You know, so it's that's where it struggles, especially if you're trying to get something where it's not American. This seems to be trained with a lot of American.
It doesn't exist, does it? If it's not American, it doesn't exist.
I love the way AI pictures drones. They got 5 arms, and one's got 2 bladed propellers. One's got 3, and it's also it's very creative when it's creating drones.
It shows you the age of the training as well with the stuff that they grabbed out, because it's a lot of it, you know, especially the Adobe stuff is Phantoms. The only one I give a lot of credit to is Grok on X. If people, you know, as I've made clear in the past, well before anything of recent times, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk, not so much but the Tesla thing and their attitude to software testing, which obviously would make me more to the where you'd expect me to be a critic, but I'll give full credit. And people, if you're not on X and you haven't tried it, I wouldn't let things put you off with things here. Actually give it a go, because people say X is toxic. It's nothing as toxic as Facebook. You know, this really amuses me. You've got police teams saying we are leaving X to go on Facebook, and you go on the Facebook page, and every single comment dissing the police. You know, far more than they would have ever got on X. So I'm always puzzled by that argument. But anyway, I'm digressing off. You know me, I'm off on a tangent.
No, never. You'd never do that.
Where I was going was the AI image creation on that is brilliant. So when you ask for a drone, you get a Mavic. And for me, I'm like, finally, something that realizes what a modern drone looks like. Because that is very dangerous. Well, not so much. It affects the image of the drone. Because we know journalists already with the stock. The stock images, they always get the 10-year-old drone. And that's the image that's always on the story. It's always the flame wheel.
It's got to be a phantom.
Fire or something like that.
It's going to be a phantom.
And the worst thing is we've got it off AI as well. So I'm just hoping we get to that point one day. One day we are going to get a new story, and it is going to be a little Mavic Minute like that. And we're going to go, yes, finally, journalists understand what drones look like. Anyway, run over.
That was a good one. Did you see, back to the Tesla self-driving car quickly, I forgot the name of the influencer. He's just put out a video of putting what they call an open pilot module into a car, into a Toyota.
I built my own self-driving car.
I
saw the thumbnail.
It's quite interesting. It's all camera based. It didn't work particularly well, and I thought it was very, very bright. Linus, that's it, Boo Boo, that's it. Bob Boo, yeah, that's it. But yeah, that's open pilot to me. Not nothing. It just shows how names change and things are forgotten and whatever. But yeah,
I don't like the misuse of the word open either, because when you mention open pilot, open to us always, it's deliberately used now, isn't it? I'm just thinking of this open air, the way something that was meaning open source, free to people, community, suddenly gets hijacked by commercial interest, and it's open, and it's not.
Well, this is supposed to be open
around here. Have open homes. They're not
open homes, and they're not free or anything. No. You can't just That's terrible.
Can't just take the houses.
Terrible. No, that's terrible. Look, we're definitely
only 2 minutes to go. Look at that.
Exactly. I was going to try and let everyone off a minute early tonight, because we've just been ranting about.
But Ian has to clean the blackboard, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing. It's definitely the drone world's in a bit of shock of like, stop, let's not announce anything or do anything for a while. I think is how it seems. It's a bit whoa. And
so Gary, next week, I'll give you some contact details. Get CAA online, and we'll give them a grilling about remote ID. Why aren't you doing remote ID? It's the big thing.
Why aren't you doing it? Yeah, you're missing out.
If people in the comments are keen, just say yes. Otherwise, we won't.
Yeah, they'll be keen, because our viewers know it solves everything. So it's the one thing we have to be behind. Yeah, look, There we are. We've needed 45 seconds. I see what you did there, Bruce. 40 seconds. Dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, look after yourselves. We'll see you again at 2100 Gin and Tonic next week, where perhaps there'll have been a few more stories. Be careful out there, people. Look after yourselves wherever you are. Cheers for now.